No matter what happens throughout a workday, we always have the ability to choose to start our day over anytime and as many times as we want. Let's talk about how to do it. Hey, welcome to the Workday Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Drew Amoroso. Every workday we encounter dozens of mini situations that we have to navigate in order to have a successful and productive workday. And the way you choose to think through those situations helps shape not only the kind of day you have, but the trajectory of your career. This podcast is all about helping you to navigate those situations, show up at your best, and become an active participant in your own workday journey. If someone asks us at the end of our workday how it went, we're likely to put it into one of two categories, a good day or a bad day. And the reason that we assign a single outcome to an entire day is because it's natural to view workdays as singular units. We measure time in days. There's a natural start point and end point to a workday. So thinking about it in that way makes sense. And because we think about days as singular units, we also have the tendency to fall into this really big trap of thinking about our days in terms of all or nothings. So think about how often something doesn't go your way at the beginning of the day and you end up letting that one thing define the rest of your day. So that single thing can end up putting you on a path that seems like it's almost irreversible, right? Which leads to immediately chalking up the entire day as a bad day, regardless of what happens the rest of the day. But it turns out that you actually have the ability to start your workday over anytime you want. So no matter what happens during the day, you always have the ability to shift your mindset and choose how you want to perceive what's happened. So you can decide to look at what's happened during the day in a positive light. You can make peace with it, or you can just leave it behind you and move on. It's really your choice. You can decide to leave emotions and feelings and limiting thoughts that don't suit you in the past. And you can choose to move forward with a mentality that aligns with how you want to experience the rest of your day. So let me give you some context for this. And I want to just share with you how this has played out in my work life. A few years ago, I founded a tech company called Due Course. And before that, I was an associate in a major US law firm. And I also had my own law firm for a few years where I represented fitness and health and wellness startups. And in each of those working situations, like many people, I found myself confronted with situations that were out of my control that would pop up during a workday. And over time, I realized that my mood and my mindset during the day were really chained to these external things that were happening around me and that I felt like were happening to me. So things like what someone would say to me in person, emails that I got, a potential client who said no to working with us, setbacks in the business, challenging situations, things that were moving too slowly, or anything else that got me thinking negatively, I realized that the way I was thinking about my day moment to moment was really wrapped up in all of these external situations. And I also realized that I was being a passive participant in letting these thoughts and these external things control me. So even though I knew that a certain situation, like a tough call or a negative interaction, was making me think and feel a certain way, I wasn't doing anything to process what had happened and move on. But then I had this realization that no matter what that external situation was, I literally had the ability to perceive that situation in any way that I chose. So instead of internalizing something and letting it control me, I realized that if I had enough awareness to know that it was controlling me, then I could catch that thought and change what happened next. So as I put this into practice over time, I've actually decided at 3:30 or even 4 o'clock in the afternoon on some days that I just want to start my day over because I don't want what's left of my day to be defined by one thing or a series of things that happened earlier in the day. So how can you put this into practice? The best way to start practicing this is when you catch yourself in the middle of situations or thoughts that aren't helping you or that aren't suiting you, what you do is literally envision yourself restarting your day. So physically get up from your workspace, get a glass of water or a cup of coffee, take a quick walk, and then re-enter your workspace with the intention of starting fresh. So you have to set an intention. Go through whatever routine it is that you use to start your day and then replicate that routine. And when you act as if you are literally starting your day over, that will trigger your brain to have a fresh start. So it turns out that our brains are actually very good at following directions like this as long as we set an intention that we want to start over. So, of course, this isn't a fix-all, and it may not completely get rid of your earlier experience, but at the very least, what it does is it gives you some separation from that part of your day so that you can get to moving on. So the next time you catch yourself experiencing thoughts that aren't suiting you, remember that you can always start your day over, and you can do it as many times as you want. Go have a great workday. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Workday Mindset Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you could head over to whatever service you're using to tune in and give us a 5-star review. The Workday Mindset Podcast is a collaboration with Populous Radio. Check out their other shows at populousradio.com. Thanks for tuning in, and go get them.